So, yesterday we are discussing the fourth chapter of Brihad Bhagavatamrta. We went halfway through the fourth chapter. We couldn't complete it yesterday. We mentioned how Gopakumara arrived in Vaikuntha, and in Vaikuntha how he was greeted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And the Lord treated Gopakumara very affectionately, and when he saw the flute, he was very pleased when Gopakumara played the beautiful flute for him. And Gopakumara also became engaged in some very intimate service like fanning the Lord or waving the chamara for the Lord. And then Gopakumara saw one day when Gopakumara was feeling the separation from Vrindavan, or he felt that the Lord was not, that he could not see his worshipable Madan Gopal. He was missing him. He was feeling his separation. So at that time, Vaikuntha-pati, Narayan, became like Madan Gopal, and Lakshmi Devi became Srimati Radharani, and Dharani Devi became Chandravali, and his other associates became the cowherd folks. And in this, although Gopakumara saw Narayan as Madan Gopal, still he was not quite satisfied, because this Madan Gopal, as Narayan transformed himself into, was not, did not give him embrace and other such intimate friendship. So that's why Gopakumara was not fully satisfied. But still he used to console himself that now he has reached the ultimate destination, and he is receiving so much mercy from the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. And he used to console his mind, saying, "My mind, now you become pacified. Don't be fickle any longer. Don't be restless. Now you become fixed up at the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because now you have reached the ultimate goal of your life." But still, at the depth of his heart, he had some sort of discontentment. So one day, Narada Muni noticed that and asked Gopakumara, in Vaikuntha, everyone is free from anxiety and lamentation. In Vaikuntha, there is no unhappiness. There is no room for any misery. But how come your face looks so pale and you appear to be so discontent, dissatisfied? Then Gopakumara revealed his heart to Narada Muni, told him, "Oh my dear worshipable Lord, please tell me what I should do. I know that I have attained the highest perfection of my life. I have been allowed to come to Vaikuntha. The Lord has very mercifully given me His personal association. He treats me with very, very warm affection. But still my heart is yearning for this young boy, Madan Gopal. And although I am seeing the Lord, and although I know that Lord Narayan and Madan Gopal are non-different, but still my heart is not. My heart is hankering for the association of Madan Gopal." Then Narada Muni looked around and told him, "Okay, I'll tell you something which no one else actually should hear." here, because this is something very, very deep secret. And Narada Muni made sure that no one was around. And then Narada Muni started to explain to Gopakumara that his heart is actually hankering for the Supreme Personality, Krishna, in his, and then he instructed Gopakumara that that beyond this Vaikuntha is Ayodhya, and beyond Ayodhya, and not too far from Ayodhya, is Dvaraka. So you should go to Dvaraka, and when you go to Dvaraka, there you will see Krishna and the personality whom you are actually hankering for. So then Gopakumara wanted to take permission from Vaikuntha-pati, Narayan, but Narada Muni told him that Ayodhya and Dvaraka is also his dham, therefore you don't need to take permission because you are not going away from Vaikuntha. That place is also in Vaikuntha. And besides that, now the Lord is away to bestow His mercy upon some devotees. So, till He comes back, there is no need for you to wait till He comes back. So you better go now, because the more you wait here, the more you will be feeling the separation from Sri Krishna. So then Gopakumara proceeded towards Ayodhya. And Narada Muni told him how to go to Ayodhya, and he taught him how to sing the glory of Lord Ramchandra as the elder brother of Lakshman, as the husband of Sita Devi, Lakshanagrajaha, Shitanath, and in this way he taught him various prayers. And as Narada Muni started to sing those prayers to Lord Ramchandra, Narada Muni Gopakumara arrived in Ayodhya. And there he saw there were many monkeys playing around, and some of the monkeys came and tried to take the flute away from him. Tried to snatch the flute away from him. And in purport it has been explained that the flute in Ayodhya is little inappropriate. Therefore the monkeys didn't like Gopakumara to come there with the flute, so they tried to take the flute away. And then the monkeys escorted him to the palace of Lord Ramchandra, and there he saw all the personalities there were even more beautiful than the residents of Vaikuntha. And they were extremely beautiful, and there he saw two personalities. He saw Bharat and Shatrughna sitting there, and he mistook them to be Ram and Lakshman. So he started to offer his prayers to them, offering his obeisances. So Bharat and Shatrughna immediately got up and covered their ears and started telling, no, yes, we are the humble servant of Lord Ramchandra. We are not the Lord ourselves. And then they took him to Lord Ramchandra, and there he saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead holding a bow in one hand, a huge, powerful bow in one hand, and he's sitting on a throne and instructing the devotees about different aspects of religious principles and how should one perform noble activities. So in this way Lord Ramchandra was giving instructions. And then when he saw Gopakumara, Ramchandra became very pleased. And so in this way Gopakumara in Ayodhya received the mercy of Lord Ramchandra, but still his heart was not satisfied. So Ramchandra could understand Gopakumara's heart because he is the super soul. So he told him that you should go to Dvaraka. And in Dvaraka you meet the Supreme Jadavendra, the Supreme Lord, Krishna. And then Ramchandra called Jambavan, the king of the bears, and who is also the minister of Lord Ramchandra. So Jambavan escorted Gopakumara to Dvaraka. So when he arrived in Dvaraka, he saw the Jadav children were playing with some Mathur Brahmanas, and they all became very excited to see Gopakumara. So they ran up to him, and when Gopakumara saw them, they were so beautiful. They were even more beautiful than the residents of Ayodhya, and he was overwhelmed with their beauty. And so they took him by his hand and took him to the palace of Krishna. And at that time, Krishna was sitting in the Sudharma assembly. Sudharma is the court of Krishna, assembly of Krishna in Dvaraka. There, Vasudev, Balaram were sitting, and Akrura were sitting on the right hand side of Krishna, and the other Jadavas with Ugrasen in the front were sitting on the left hand side of Krishna. And in this way Krishna was conducting the assembly. And when he saw Gopakumara, Krishna became very pleased. He just got up. And seeing Krishna, Gopakumara fainted. So as Gopakumara fainted, Krishna got up and wanted to pick him up from the ground. But then Uddhava could understand, so he immediately came to Gopakumara and he lifted him up. Instead of letting Krishna lift up Gopakumara. And then when Uddhava could understand that, at that time Uddhava could understand that Krishna was about to embrace Gopakumara. Now, in the assembly, in the court, that would be an inappropriate act of Krishna. Therefore, Uddhava made Gopakumara touch Krishna's feet with his head. Uddhava held Gopakumara by his head and bowed it down to Krishna's feet. So in this way, Uddhava did not allow any transgression of etiquette in the court. And then Krishna saw the flute in Gopakumara's hand, and Krishna picked up the flute, and he became very absorbed looking at the flute, as if he completely lost himself in many, many fond memories, and tears came rolling down his eyes. And in this way, Krishna received Gopakumara. And Uddhav could understand that this cowherd boy is bringing the memories back into Krishna's mind of Braja. So in the meantime, the queens, 16,008 queens came, and they arranged for Krishna's prasad. But Krishna, he very affectionately started to serve Gopakumara. And then, for the sake of Gopakumara's pleasure, he took a little bit of prasad. And Balaram and others also sat there and took their prasad. And Uddhav was very delighted to meet Gopakumara, because although Uddhav was in Dvaraka, but he was very fond of the residents of Vrindavan. Although he spent some time there, and he felt very overwhelmed, very much impressed by the activities or the devotion of the residents of Vrindavan. So Uddhava invited Gopakumara to come to his house. Actually, Uddhava knew that Gopakumara will feel uncomfortable in the house, in the palace, which is so full of opulence. Because Gopakumara, in his constitutional position, is a cowherd boy, so he was not so fond of opulent environment. So Uddhava invited him to come and stay in his house. So Gopakumara in this way was staying in Uddhava's house. Actually, when Gopakumara arrived in the court of Krishna, then Narada Muni was there also. So wherever he went, he saw Narada Muni. So Gopakumara asked Narada Muni, how come wherever I go, I see you? What is the mystery? So Narada Muni also made a joke with Gopakumara at that time. He said, you are a cowherd boy and you could not give up your humorous nature befitting to a cowherd boy. And from that you can understand that the cowherd boys are very humorous. So Narada Muni said, are you joking with me? And he said that, then Gopakumara explained to him that he was really curious to know. Then Narada Muni said that actually we are Lord's eternal associates. And just as Lord expands himself into unlimited form in spite of being one, similarly, by his mercy, we also expand ourselves. Whenever the Lord expands himself, along with the Lord, we also expand ourselves. So this way, Narada Muni established the point that whenever the Lord, that the Nitya Siddha, the eternal associates of Krishna, also expand themselves unlimitedly as Krishna does. And then Narada Muni started to explain. Then Narada Muni asked him that in Vaikuntha also I saw you that you are dissatisfied. You are not completely happy. And there was some tinge of discontentment in your heart. And here also I am seeing you with your pale face and heavy heart. What's the matter? So then Gopakumara explained to him. Then Narada Muni told Uddhav, see, this character is something very, very special. The position that you, I and Mahalakshmi cannot attain, this kid is hankering for that position. So what should you do about him? Anyway, you are very merciful. So you instruct him how he can attain that supreme abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vraja. Then Uddhava said, you are the original guru of everyone. So in your presence, how can I instruct him? So you please instruct him. Then Narada Muni said, Uddhav, even in Dvaraka, even in the spiritual sky, you could not give up your Kshatriya mentality. Because Uddhava considered himself to be a Kshatriya, and that's why he didn't want to transgress the etiquette, Vaishnava etiquette. Then Uddhava said, what to speak of myself? Even our Lord could not give up his Kshatriya mentality in Dvaraka. Even he thinks that he is a Kshatriya. And so then Narada Muni started to explain to Gopakumara about Vrindavan. And he said, well, how should I describe the glory of Vrindavan? That is the highest, that's the topmost region of the spiritual sky. And in the topmost region of the spiritual sky, the Supreme Personality performs his most wonderful pastimes. And there he has become like an ordinary human being. Why? Because when the living entities, when the devotees have the awareness that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then their hearts become filled with awe and reverence. And they feel afraid. Therefore, these very intimate dealings are not possible with him. Now, in that region, the Supreme Personality of Godhead allows his most intimate associates, to deal with him as his equal or even as their inferior. He allows himself to become their subordinate, their junior. And there he allows his devotees to develop a very intense, loving relationship with him. And that relationship also is free from any moral consideration. Like there, the Lord's relationship with the gopis are not as legally or morally married husband and wife. There, these particular types of devotees are not even married to him, but they are able to, or they have been allowed to develop a very intense loving relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in this way, Narada Muni explained the supremacy of Vrindavan. And then he explained that the flute in Vrindavan is so wonderful that the sound of the flute completely enchants everybody. By playing this flute, the Supreme Personality of Godhead enchants everyone. And when one hears the flute, the moving living entities become the living entities when they hear the flute, they lose their natural state or natural characteristics. How? Like by hearing the flute, they develop opposite characters. The moving entities become stunned or static, and the static living entities become moving, become dynamic. Like trees begin to dance. The mountains mountains and trees and all these static sthabur objects, they begin to dance. And the non-moving entities, they become stunned. Like Srimati Radharani and other gopis, when they hear the sound of the flute, they can't move anymore. They become stunned. And the solid objects melt, like stone melts by hearing the flute. And the liquid objects become solid. So in this way, everything actually goes topsy-turvy, just with the sound of Krishna's flute. So in this way, Narada Muni explains the glory of the spiritual sky, Vrindavan, and finally he explained there, the Lord invites all the gopis into a dance party, and there that loving exchange that takes place between in that rasa dance is not even possible. No one is able to describe the joy of that loving exchange, or how that loving exchange actually takes place. So, in this way, Narada Muni explained the supreme position of Vrindavan, and then he explained that the Lord, in a day of Brahma, on the 28th Yuga, Divya Yuga, in Dwapar, he appears on the earth planet. So the same pastimes is actually enacted. Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes are enacted on the earth planet in a place called Vrindavan, which is non-different from the topmost region of the spiritual sky, which is this Vrindavan. So then Narada Muni started to explain to him that, that, he explained, that was before actually, I forgot to mention, that Krishna dances with the gopis, and then in order to show his special favor, he leaves the Rasa dance with Srimati Radhika. And then, after a while, he even leaves Radhika and disappears. And also sometimes Krishna disappears when Akrura comes and takes him away to Mathura. But actually, Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. Narada Muni there mentioned that actually Krishna hides behind some kunja, hides behind some bush or some grove, and he watches how his devotees are missing him, and he derives great pleasure by seeing the intensity of their separation. And also he explained how separation is even more joyful than union. Why separation is even more joyful than union? Because in union, they feel only that Krishna only is with them. But in separation, they see Krishna in everything, everywhere. Therefore, the joy of separation is even greater than joy of union. In union, they do get Krishna's association, but that doesn't mean that in separation, they do not get Krishna's association. Actually, the association is even more intensified in separation. Because in separation, everything becomes Krishna-moy. Krishna-moy, what would be the appropriate translation of Krishna-moy? Full of Krishna.
Krishnized.
Krishnized, yeah, that's good. Everything becomes Krishnized. So, like, they mistake a tamal tree to be Krishna. They think the monsoon cloud to be Krishna. Radharani mistook a bumblebee to be Krishna. And at that stage, a painting appears to be Krishna himself. And when they see Krishna face to face, then they think that it is actually a hallucination. It's not. Sometimes Krishna actually comes out of the grove and stands in front of them. But they think that they are hallucinating. And then sometimes when they see some painting of Krishna, actually once Vishakha, who is a very good painter, seeing Radharani's intense separation from Krishna, did a painting of Krishna and gave it to Radharani. And Radharani, when she was looking at the painting, she felt that the person was coming out of the painting and was trying to embrace her. So she became very, she told him, please don't do that, because I'm somebody else's wife. So in this way, Krishna, they see Krishna in everything, everywhere, due to their separation from Krishna. So, then Narada Muni asked Uddhava to say something also about the residents of Vrindavan. From here, you should actually go back to Vrindavan. He asked him to go to this Bhoma Vrindavan, Earth Vrindavan. Why? Because in Vrindavan, you will feel the separation from Krishna in such a way, so intensely, that intensity will qualify you to enter into Golok Vrindavan. So Gopakumara then closed his eyes. He kind of lost his consciousness as if he fainted. And in a doze, he felt that he was being transported somewhere. And when he opened his eyes, he found himself in a kunja of Vrindavan. The same kunja where he actually met this Brahmana. who he was narrating this story to. Okay, I'll stop now. So today, fortunately, I've been able to cover the 5th chapter also. Yes, Shashikul.
When Gopakumara was in Vaikuntha, the residents there were telling him, he started saying, go in there, go tell. They said, told him to be quiet. That was so good. But yet they also said they knew something about God and pastime. They said Krishna appeared as the coward boy,
Yeah.
still counselors and all.
Right.
So is it possible, there was a hypothetical question yesterday about the spiritual work. Is it possible that, because in our sampradaya, Radha Krishna is the highest, that, we see things that way according to Shastra, and that's the interpretation of our acharyas. But there are other sampradayas elsewhere that, direct specifically to Vaikuntha, and they explain what the local pastime God, they see it highest as
Vaikuntha. They think that highest is Vaikuntha. Yes, that's true. You see, jar jei rosh hoy shei sarbottama. Whatever one's indigenous mellow is, he considers that to be the highest. Like those who are in Shantarash, they think Shantarash is the highest. Those who are in Dasharash, they think Dasha is the highest. And can I make just one point? I think that will clarify it. And they think that Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan is actually Narayan becomes an avatar. Narayan of Vaikuntha becomes an incarnation, comes to the earth planet and performs these pastimes, just as he performs various leelas as Varaha, Kurma, Nrsimha, etc. But actually he is Narayan. And the original personality is Narayan of Vaikuntha, and these are his pastimes, even as Krishna is his pastimes. Now,
is it just our sampradaya understanding that this is the
okay.
pastimes?
So that's why we see Narada Muni was hesitating to reveal the glory of Vrindavan in Vaikuntha. Because it's actually, they are not allowed to listen to that. Because if they do, then they'll get confused. Right? Okay, now the question may arise, as you were saying, like, because we are in this sampradaya, we think that ours is the highest. Okay, now is it a false claim or the claim is justified? That's the point, right? Now, Jiva Goswami explained how our claim is justified. He said, looking for Shanta, Dasha, we come to Vaikuntha, right? When we are looking out for different mellows, right? Now, Dasha we find in Vaikuntha. But we know that higher than Dasha is Shakya. But in Vaikuntha we don't find Shakya. In Vaikuntha no one is Krishna's friend, everyone is Krishna's servant. Even Lakshmi Devi is Krishna's maidservant, right? Narayan's maidservant. Treating him as a maidservant. But searching for Shakya, we come to Ayodhya, where Hanuman, who is actually situated in Dasya, is at the height of his devotion. When Ramchandra asked him, Hanuman, what do you want from me? And Hanuman said, my Lord, if you so desire, please give me your embrace. So there, Shakya is transcending into, Dasha is transcending into Shakya. But still it is just a tinge of Shakya. It's not fully manifested. In Ayodhya also, Ramchandra doesn't have a friend. Like, there are some friends like Hanuman, Dasha to friendship. Guhaka, the boatman who took Ramchandra across the river Kaveri. Saraju, not Kaveri. But then we come to Dvaraka. There Krishna has some friends. Right? But Vatsalya is not manifested there. Like, although Mother Jasoda, Mother Devaki, Mother Rohini are there, and Vasudev and others are there, but they all know that this Jadavendra is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And with this awe and reverence, the Vatsalya has become subdued or completely covered. Right? Now, looking for Vatsalya, we come to Mathura. there's a tinge of Vatsalya just after Krishna's birth. The way Mother Devaki felt. Her heart was filled with parental affection, Devaki and Vasudeva. But then, after they saw that Krishna is Narayan, as soon as they recognized him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vatsalya disappeared and they started to offer prayers. Right? So then looking for perfection of Vatsalya, we come to Vrindavan. There, not only Vatsalya, even Madhurya has become perfectly manifested. And with Madhurya in the center, all the mellows are perfectly manifested. All the mellows in the sense, the Madhurya, Vatsalya and Shakha. Dasha, there is a very little Dasha and some superficial Shanta. So in this way, Jiva Goswami established that Vrindavan is the highest. And Krishna is the Rasha Vaisha. Krishna is the Akhila Rasamrita Murti. As Rupa Goswami explained in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. He is the reservoir. He is the personification of the totality of the mellows. So then that is available only in Brajendra Nandan Krishna. Krishna of Vrindavan. Because all the mellows are actually springing out of him and inundating his devotees. Ramananda.
Dvaraka Maharaj is friendship, and Gopakumara seems also to be friendship.
No, that is, you see, Dvaraka, both friendship and conjugal is present. But that is Oisharja Mishrita. That is mixed with awe and reverence. That friendship is not pure friendship. In Dwarka, there is friendship between, say, Uddhav and Krishna. But Uddhav knows that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that is not perfect friendship. But in Vrindavan, the friendship is perfected. Their mood is, Tumi kon bado lok, ami tumi shamo. The cowherd boys are telling Krishna that what kind of great personality you are. We are equal. You and I are equal. And Krishna actually, Krishna's friends joke with Krishna. Like Madhu Mangal tells Krishna, Krishna, why do you think you are so great? Then Krishna says, well, you have seen, I have done so many wonderful things. He said, what wonderful things you did? He said, well, when I was only 3 days old, I killed a huge demoness called Putana. And then I danced on the head of Kaliya. And so Krishna started to brag. And then Madhavanga said, oh, you thought you did it. He said, actually, it's when Putana came, I chanted the mantra. And when I saw that you were wrapped, that Kaliya coiled around you and was about to kill you, then I chanted the Sarpa Nidhan mantra, the mantra to kill the Sarpa, the snake. And due to that, Kaliya became powerless. And then you jumped on his head and showed a few tricks. But actually it is I who did it. So in this way, they have a very sweet, friendly exchange. And finally Krishna says, maybe that's true. So then Madhu Mangal says, see, you are actually transgressing the etiquette. You are not really learning how to respect a Brahmana. Of course, I don't blame you. You are an uneducated village boy. You are a cowherd boy. But at least, try to be respectful towards Brahman. And Krishna says, okay. Dandavad.
How did you go from that?
Yes.
Something outstanding. Then did you mention that?
He mentioned that also.
What was the explanation?
The explanation was, you think that you lifted Giru Govardhan. It's actually Nanda Maharaj and Balaram and all the other cowherd men was propping the Govardhan up with the sticks.
I've heard some bhajan by Ram Bhaktas who are singing about the childhood pastimes of Lord Ramchandra, and how cute he is as a baby and things like that. Is that some kind of mixture of Vatsalya Ras, or what is the nature of that?
Yeah, there is some Vatsalya, but you see, this Vatsalya ultimately is covered with awe and reverence. Because there are awareness is there that here is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And some of these songs are actually composed by Tulsidas, who is much later and who took things from, Krishna's pastimes. Like there's one very famous song, Thumaka Chalata Ramachandra, Bhajata Panjaliya. That Ramchandra is moving, baby Ram is moving with a tilting pace, and his ankle bells are ringing very beautifully. And he's saying that the beauty, there is no comparison of the beauty of his face. The only comparison that can be given is the beauty of his face. Any other question?
Does Narada Muni have an entry into Vrindavan?
Yeah. Narada Muni can go everywhere. As he said, like wherever the Lord expands himself, he can be there. He is there. But he is there as Narada Muni. Like the famous story, the gopis, Krishna got a headache. And so Narada Muni went to the gopis. He answered the
Yeah, about expanding, when the internal associates of the Lord expand. Do they have an awareness of that? You follow what I'm saying?
You see,
Or is there
the basic understanding is that a pure devotee is completely absorbed in Krishna's consciousness. He doesn't have any separate consciousness. That is, he doesn't have any separate individual consciousness. He is completely absorbed in Krishna's consciousness. And he is acting according to Krishna's desire. So therefore, even though they expand, they do not have any separate, they are not thinking, oh, I have expanded into so many forms. Right? That would become false ego. Right? But their thing is that I am the humble servant and this is how I'm serving the Lord. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Devotees like Prahlad Maharaj, who's predominantly Shantaras, and so many other devotees were mentioning different rasas, they're participating in Lord Chaitanya's Leela. What is the explanation for that? How is that? Are they participating somehow in the mood of Vrindavan, even though they really belong in Vaikuntha, especially?
Yeah. Actually, Krishna harmonized everything in his pastimes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Like those who were hankering to enter into Vraja but couldn't enter into Vraja. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he fulfilled their desire. Like although Lakshmi Devi could not get an entry to Vrindavan, but in Mahaprabhu's pastimes, Lakshmi Devi has an entry. Like in this way, everyone has been allowed to come and participate in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. So Shanta, Dasha, everything has been perfectly harmonized. Because this mellow is the mellow of magnanimity, Audarja. Like Krishna, when he is performing the Madhurja pastimes, the conjugal pastimes, the sweet pastimes, there is a consideration who should get an entry and who should not. But when that same Krishna is in a mood of distributing his madhurja, his prem, his love, then there is no consideration of qualification. Everyone is eligible. So that actually shows that it is impossible for anyone to enter into Vrindavan pastimes. The pastimes that Lakshmi Devis cannot enter, Shiva cannot enter, Brahma cannot enter, Like such an exclusive pastimes. What to speak of ourselves, right? I mean, it's impossible, right? But due to Mahaprabhu's magnanimous gift, it has become possible for anyone and everyone to enter into Golok. And now the point is, like, since if we can enter, right, who are even worse than Jagais and Madhais, right? If we can enter, that means anybody and everybody can enter. And that is the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Open to all. The only consideration is Shraddha. You have to have a little bit of faith. Yes, Hamsa.
If Lord Shiva and other great personalities can't enter into the Vrindavan pastimes, isn't it, I mean, wouldn't it be kind of presumptuous for us to we're sitting and studying all these different rasas and the leelas of Vrindavan, that it would be kind of presumptuous to think that we may enter there sometime.
Yeah.
How do you address
Right.
that, right?
We are doing it with a different mood altogether. You see, in Mahaprabhu's Sankirtan, the mood is distribution, not enjoyment. Right? We are not entering into those pastimes, or we are not delving into those literatures for our sake, but for the sake of distributing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. That's why the Goswamis, under the instruction of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, made all these literatures available
In
to
other words, to appreciate Lord Chaitanya.
To appreciate Lord Chaitanya. Yeah. Actually, what Mahaprabhu gave.
So the idea is not that we're studying or we're, delving into the literatures with an anticipating that, we may enter there, but that we're simply appreciating Lord Chaitanya, that this is his orbit and he's coming out and distributing. Is that it?
Yeah. Like, for example, you see, Narayan's Vaikuntha pastimes were available before. But Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan were kept as a secret. Right? And at the most, they thought that these pastimes are actually the expansion's pastimes, Avatar Leela. So, in this way, it was kept as a secret. Like, it was that awareness that, Vrindavan is the highest, even beyond Vaikuntha. That consideration was not there. Therefore, people were thinking of going back to Vaikuntha. And Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan was just a Leela on the earth. Right? Devotees' general mood was to go back to Vaikuntha, not to enter into Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. So in this way, it was kept as a secret. But Mahaprabhu came and opened up everything. He said, no, that is the highest. And he did it because he allowed us to enter into a different mood altogether. That's the mood of distribution. When a person is distributing, then he has access to what he is distributing. So in this way, indirectly, by following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one is automatically entering into Vrindavan pastimes. Like if a rich man allows his subordinate to give out all the money he has. So that means the person who is giving the money, he has the money. But the thing is, he is not using the money for himself. It's simply meant for distribution. But while distributing, he is actually becoming qualified to come closer and closer to the person who actually possesses it. Yeah.
Because we studied Bhakti Sindhu, and there's a suggestion that one follows a particular servant, a personality. And it seems to me that the idea is to actually enter into the environment of Vrindavan. Or let me ask a second question. According to what you say, then are we to understand that we will be perpetually living in separation of these Vrindavan pastimes?
Not perpetually. You see, the entrance here, the entry to Vrindavan is exclusively up to Krishna. and Radharani, to be more precise. Like we cannot force our way to Vrindavan. Completely up to Srimati Radharani's mercy. But as we become engaged in Sankirtan, accordingly we become eligible to receive Radharani's mercy. Like Prabodhananda Saraswati says, right, Jatha Jatha Gauro Padara Vinde, Bindeta Bhakti Krita Punja Rashi, Tatha Tathut Sarpati Ridi Akushmat, Radha Padam Bhoja Sudhambo Rashi. As we become engaged in serving the lotus feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jatha Jatha Gauro Padara Vinde, Bindeta Bhakti Krita Punja Rashi, due to our heaps of pious activities as we develop attachment to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, accordingly, all of a sudden we feel that our heart is inundated with the nectar emanating from the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. So Mahaprabhu's mercy and Radharani's mercy are non-different. Now, we become engaged in Sankirtan and, without even knowing, we become qualified to enter into Krishna Vrindavan pastime.
This is the first time I'm hearing it and understanding it in that way. Because we so often read Krishna book and then nectar of devotion, and there's this whole idea of following in the footsteps of the next.
So we are doing that. I mean, who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu?
No, I'm just saying that for me it's never been clear. It's the first time I've heard it.
I hope I'm correct.
So it's kind of like a special.
Yeah, it is special. Anarpita Choring Chirat is a very special arrangement for the age of Kali.
Would you say that Karuna Lila is higher than Krishna Lila?
It's this comparison on the spiritual plane is not encouraged. Like the understanding that we have is that Golok, the region of Golok has two chambers. One is Vrindavan, the other is Navadvip. And in Vrindavan, Krishna is enjoying Madhurya Lila, Krishna Prem, and in Navadvip, the same Krishna, as Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is distributing that Prem.
But it goes without saying that there's no question of appreciating or entering into Vrindavan without
the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
So in one sense, we have to think of it that way. Isn't it?
It has been discouraged to think that way. Bhakti Vinod Thakur actually explains this point in his Jaiva Dharma. But he is saying that it will be an offense to think that this one is higher than that one.
Here, but for us, there's an absolute necessity.
Yeah, for us there is no other way.
Right, no other way.
Right. For us there is no other way. So let's stop. Hare Krishna.